You don't know the power of the dark side.
Welcome to Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazark. Now you're listening to Power.
Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Chatter, your safe space to discuss music and Star Wars, most importantly. We are just talking about things that make up the dark side that you probably didn't know. Or if you're a huge fan of Star Wars, you probably know. You probably know about these facts of the dark side, but that doesn't mean that we can't still talk about them and discuss and tell me your thoughts on what makes it better than anything else. You know, would you be a dark side user or would you be a light side user? That's the question where we all have to be wondering and thinking to ourselves, you know. All right, welcome to the show, Chandler. How's it going? Who's your favorite Sith Lord? And why do you think the Sith have such an amazing fan base? And people tend to enjoy more the dark side when it comes to the Star Wars universe. You know, we play the video games, and most people are like, "Oh, look at Kylo Ren, look at Darth Vader, look at Darth Maul, look at Palpatine, Darth Traya, and all that." We start, you know, focusing Darth Nihilus, Darth Revan. We start focusing on those characters a lot when it comes to the video games and the movies and all that, you know, of Star Wars. But there's cool characters on the light side, you know. We do have cool characters. But did you know there's 15 facts that you probably did not know about the dark side? So when it comes to Star Wars, there's two sides we can choose from. Either you're a light side user or you're a dark side user. And for many of us, when we think of Star Wars, we think about a battle between the light side and the dark side. There's always a conflict. And I can totally say that in the Star Wars universe, you gotta choose a side. You not really have to choose a side, because you can be like the Imperial Knights or like Ahsoka or something, where you're like right there in the middle, as we like to call a non-canon world on the expanded universe, the Grey Jedi. Because Grey Jedi, for some reason, hasn't been officialized as canon. For some apparent reason, you know? So it's a thing that we are still wondering ourselves. But before we get started, let's listen to my new single, After Hours.
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazark. Now you're listening to Power.
Now, let's get started. So on number 15, we can totally say that they use the dark side to drain people. You know, the Force is widely known as a powerful energy source, and it's been described in passing throughout the movies and touched on by different characters. While a lot of information hasn't been given in large dose of the Star Wars audience, people don't know that most of the dark side users tend to suck your life out, drain it out. And one of the best known examples of using the Force is when Darth Vader chokes out his underlings. When people see Darth Vader do this, they think he's simply choking them. Although this is a case that people don't know what the Force can be used for, and at this point, it's being used as to drain people's energy. And that, for me, is ultimate dark side power. And if you can see that as an example also, when Palpatine throws his Force lightning to Mace Windu, you see how slowly also Palpatine starts to just get all old and wrinkly. You know, that's another reason why the dark side drains your life and people. So number 14, it's used for lightning. As I mentioned, Palpatine used Force lightning. So the dark side of the Force is a place that you don't want to visit. Well, maybe you do if you can relate to the lonely figures such as Darth Vader and the Emperor and much other characters. But what's not known about the Force is that it can be used in multiple of different ways. While it's true that both the light and dark side can use it, it's how the dark side uses the Force that is really intriguing. The aspect of it, you know, the dark side will use the power to the fullest extent, and it's extremely dangerous. For instance, the dark side can generate a bolt of lightning. Now, the lightning, called electric judgment, can bake you and burn you to crisps. It's a power that shouldn't be messed with, especially if it's someone who is wielding it for the dark side. If you ask me, and I had the chance to do electrical lightning, trust me, and I mean trust me, I would be throwing some force lightning out there. Trust me, I would. I would crisping you, crisp you there, throw lightning there, lightning there. You piss me off, lightning over there, lightning over there. Totally, you know? But before we continue, let's listen to my next song called Tribal.
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazart. Now you're listening with power.
Now let's continue with the 15 things you probably didn't know about the dark side. It's the fact number 13. It can be transported. Did you know that the Force can be transported throughout the galaxy and being used in many different crazy ways? Like, for example, the Force is a simple yet complex subject to understand. It's an energy that people try to tame, yet rarely do. With both light and dark side using the Force, some of these powers that are used are only used by the light side or the dark side. For example, one of the dark side specific powers is used to transport consciousness. This is extremely scary, though, to think of. According to the lore of Star Wars, the ancient Sith used the technique to protect their tombs and habitats. They used it to transfer their consciousness into another person's body. Hear me out. It was transferred, their consciousness, to another body. You know how crazy that is. That is ridiculous. You know, imagine you're right here. Someone killed you. And then you're sliced up by a lightsaber, and then they bury you. And all of a sudden, you can transfer your consciousness into another body. And then take use of that body. If this is not like what Obi-Wan does, we're like, ooh, this is not the droid you're looking for. And then they're mind controlled and then they switch their mind. No. Your whole consciousness goes in and you stay there. Like if the body you're in is it's a host. This one, the next fact here, it's not as crazy as, transferring your whole consciousness to another body, switching body. It's not as crazy as that. But at number 12, we have that it's used for levitation. The dark side is a nasty endeavor. It's full of despair and rage and all negative energy that lives in this world. With the ability to use varying powers to leverage these abilities in unique ways, it may surprise you that one of the things the dark side includes is the ability to levitate. We can see that with Palpatine when he levitates. So why is this surprising? You may ask yourself. Well, you don't really see it happen too often. It doesn't occur too much in the movies, and it's not one of the more tamer powers, as it's something that's been seen rarely of media, Maybe levitation is used in the books, maybe, but the movies hardly use levitation. However, the dark side can tap into this power and use it for evil ways. Levitation is used for bad things if the dark side is wielding it. So with the dark side, you can levitate. Which brings us to our next song, Dark Awakening by Mark Griskey.
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazart. Now you're listening with power.
And now we're back to Star Wars Chatter, your safe space to discuss Star Wars and listen to music. So at number 11, we have the dark side. Invented the one and only, the lightsaber. So the force that is used by anybody from the dark side is probably suited for a mechanical purpose. But what people in the Star Wars universe may not know is that every single lightsaber used by both good and bad people stems from the dark side. That's right. The dark side invented the lightsaber. This is a fact that comes as quite as shocking to many. After all, lightsabers are the one weapon that both sides wield, not to mention the color, that the significance behind that. the dark side created a powerful weapon in the lightsaber. Its focused energy can slice almost anything in two, and it should be used with caution. And yes, the dark side did create the lightsaber. You heard me right. The dark side invented the lightsaber. And it makes a lot of sense, because what does the dark side promote? Power, fear, and ruling the galaxy. And what better way to rule the galaxy? What better way to fight against anyone than by using a lightsaber? And now you know it. The dark side invented the lightsaber, the strongest weapon in the galaxy. Yes, I myself, as a Star Wars fan and curator of these podcasts about all things Star Wars, never knew that the dark side created, but by doing a lot of research here, I find out that the dark side had created the lightsaber. And that is by far the most interesting thing to note out here. So at number 10, the Sith aren't compatible with lightsabers. You may think, wait, didn't the dark side create lightsabers? Yes. But since they were taming it, but for some reason, Sith aren't compatible with lightsabers. And the reason why there is red on their lightsaber, it's not because, they found a red kyber crystal, la 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 la. No. It's because when it turns red, it's because the lightsaber is bleeding. And it means that they're not compatible with the kyber crystal that's engraved on that lightsaber. So when you think of lightsabers, you might probably jump to some of the classic lightsaber duels you've read about or seen, or played in the video games. Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. These fantastic fight sequences are etched into most people's minds when they think of Star Wars. However, and hear me out, you may have wondered how the weapons of choice, both Jedi and Sith, got their color. The lore of Star Wars universe says that the Jedi used a special kind of crystal called a kyber crystal for their lightsaber. Since the lightsabers are drawn to their life force, colors such as green and blue and much more colors emerged. When the evil Sith pick up a lightsaber, the kyber crystal picks up on the dark side of the force. Hence the color goes away and the crystal starts bleeding with this energy, which causes the lightsaber to obtain a red color. Interesting facts, if I might say myself, There's a lot of things that the dark side has to offer on the world of Star Wars, and for now, we haven't seen not even a glimpse on live action, nor animation. We probably have more information of the dark side within the comics, the books, and the video games, but on live action and animation, we're still going tippy toes on that. And as one of my chatters here is asking or saying, Chander says, so it was always the good ones, and then it just became bad. Exactly. That's how the lightsaber gets its color, But if a dark side user touches it, it goes red. But there is one thing to note out. You probably have seen a white lightsaber. What is that? A white lightsaber is basically a dark side user that cleansed himself and cleansed the lightsaber and hence turns white. And there's only been one character that has done that throughout the whole universe of Star Wars. And now we're gonna listen to Ahsoka Tano by Samuel Kim.
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazart. Now you're listening to Power.
And now we're back to Star Wars Chatter, your safe space to discuss Star Wars and listen to music. So at number 9, Sith Swords were used on the dark side. Yes, before lightsabers, we had swords. The dark side of the Force holds a lot of secrets. Ones that may scare us a bit, but others not so much. It's also steeped in a ton of history and events that helped shape how the dark side came to be. One of these moments in history, it's the point in way before lightsabers. Before lightsabers were used in the universe of Star Wars, there were proto-sabers. However, the dark side saw that the light side had also developed katanas. Since the proto-sabers and things known as the Force sabers were afraid to be used by several Jedis, they created katanas. And this can be particularly seen on the Old Republic. You can see this on the Knights of the Old Republic in the Old Republic era comics and all that. And now we're gonna listen to Oswildo, the artist of the day, with the song Dawn 2068.
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazart. Now you're listening with power.
To continue here, to combine these katanas, the dark side invented Sith Swords. This Sith Swords could take on the light side katanas. They were mighty equivalent to the katanas and helped the dark side wage an ongoing war on the light side. However, as time went on, lightsabers became the norm, and it's now the standard in the galaxy. So at number 8, Darth Vader's lightsaber was searched for after his death. So the death of Darth Vader hits everyone on the dark side. It's filtered through the galaxy and rocked his followers to the core. So after the shocking and climactic duel that led to his death, Darth Vader was held and looked in the high regards of the dark side. Anything he was associated with became infamous. One of those things in question is his lightsaber. Where exactly was it, you may ask? Did it contain any sort of power left over from Darth Vader himself? A group of people who embody the dark side values decided they were going to try and find the long-lost lightsaber. Who knows? Maybe it still held some sort of power within it. Ultimately, the group did find it. However, there was really no proof that it was really what the lightsaber wielded by Darth Vader. Only hearsay. So at number 7, the word Darth has no real meaning. Some don't know how Darth Vader got his name. After all, it's Darth, a common name in the world of Star Wars. That's a question many of us are asking. So the answer is simple, yet it opens doors for a real mystery. The Darth is used as a symbolic name rather than an actual name. Not only that, but the last names of Sith are more symbolic than their first names. For instance, the name Vader is a given name. However, after Vader and the stature that he climbed to, others wanted to replicate it. They wanted the infamous feeling to wrap around people when they stepped into the room. Other names that are used as symbols include Maul and Sidious. Either way, the first name has an origin that is unknown. The last name, however, is extremely important. As we all know, many people around the galaxy have holocrons, and it's no surprise that the dark side have their own holocron. So at number 6, we got that the Sith also have holocrons. So holocrons are used by both sides of the Force. Both the light side and the dark side have similarities. They both use lightsabers, and they both fight for their ideas of what it's right. And they both possess amazing skills in fighting. They also share a similarity when it comes to how they store their information. Both use devices known as holocrons. Holocrons are small objects that contain information. They can contain information regarding history accounts of battles that may help future generations survive to maps and codes that could help turn their tide in the war. The major difference between these devices is that they changed in shape. While light side holocrons are square, the dark side holocrons look more like pyramids. It's these devices that many smugglers have probably brought into both the rebels and the Sith hands because of the potential power they may be containing. At number 5, as any group have their own sets of rules and codes. And it's no surprise that the Jedi and the Sith have their own codes. The Jedis promote peace, knowledge, celerity, harmony, and the Force. Yet the Sith, passion, strength, power, victory, and the Force. So a code of honor is what drives almost everyone in the universe. It doesn't matter whether you're a Jedi who's fighting to stop expanding empire or fight to wipe away the Jedi. From the thousands of planets in the universe, both sides of the Force have their own code they follow closely. As you probably guessed, the Jedi Code is one that promotes peace and prosperity. Following a code is something that both sides do in order to keep some control over their followers. The dark side focuses on aggression, may be more difficult to maintain rather than the Jedi orders of peace, Because when you have, people that are trying to gain power over and over and over and over, it doesn't help to maintain them, on the side or on your side, But instead, when you're doing peace, it's more serene. So it's easier to keep them around. So the dark side is indeed tempting. And a power-hungry people in the world of Star Wars can find a perfect home on this side of the Force. But if we look at the story of Darth Vader, we can totally see how it slowly ruined Anakin's life. So do you think the dark side is just a tempting place to be in? In my opinion, I don't think so. Unless you get into the dark side normally and naturally, then okay, sure, it's kind of tempting to have unlimited power. But would you really want to have unlimited power after knowing the story of Darth Vader? I don't think so. So at number 4, this one may be a surprise to many of you listening to the show right now, that the Sith were originally a species. And it's a shocker, I know. Yeah, the Sith look odd with their red skin. But in the universe of Star Wars, it's really not that crazy to think that may have evolved over thousands and thousands of years. First they were a race. Slowly they faded out. They started breeding with humans until we got what we now know of the Sith. And on the prequels with Darth Maul, we were seeing a resurgence of the Sith. The red skin and aggressive nature of the Sith are not just a different species from humans. They are actually a human-Sith hybrid. This occurred when the Sith began breeding with humans. As the hybrid babies were born generations after generations, the race of Sith slowly and gradually began to disappear. It's not known where they were or if there still are purebloods around, but there's a huge possibility. This story angle perhaps might be one that authors may want to focus on, whether on live action, comics, or books. But I highly recommend it to be on live action because we have so many Sith and books and comics related to the Sith. Why not live action or animation to make it a little more simpler if you want? So at number 3, Darth Vader's lightsaber is different from all others. Darth Vader's lightsaber is definitely a hot commodity in the Star Wars universe. Besides the long and adventures-filled quest to actually find it, it's a surprising fact to learn that the dark side has yet another piece of technology that the light side can't touch. The functionality has to do with Darth Vader's precious lightsaber. It's a lightsaber that unparalleled and has some hidden components. Besides having the bleeding effect, the lightsaber wielded by the man in the black mask is actually a different length than other lightsabers. While this may seem like an insignificant fact, it actually means a lot. The lightsaber is a dual-functioning lightsaber. It's one of a kind and a handful in the galaxy that exists. It's no wonder then why Darth Vader was so powerful. An affinity to tap into the Force and dual-functioning lightsabers come together for a deadly combination of Darth Vader. Number 2, the Sith were almost extinct. As I like to bring you back, when Sith came to be, they were a race originally, with the red skin and the aggressive nature, and then we started to see a fade of the Sith with the breed of humans, but it wasn't just that time when the Sith were almost extinct. And it's true. Before the Sith emerged with the humans, they were a species who had been knocked around a few times. On more than one occasion, the Sith were almost driven to extinction. Granted, the Sith were always fighting and trying to gain power over their enemies. If you act like this is all the time, there's bound to be species and races of aliens that are going to try and take you out. It almost happens to the Sith a handful of occasions. Technically, the Sith are no more due to the fact that they have bred with humans, but in general terms, they're still around. They are still around to fight the Jedi and keep the heroes in checkmate. Darth Maul's appearance in the first part of the prequel trilogy really re-established the Sith in the universe of Star Wars. They were black and they were looking for blood. And last but not least, number 1, the rule of 2. In the world of Star Wars, we can say that if there was a Sith Lord, there was an apprentice, learning to become part of the dark side at any shape or form. And its ridiculous Sith Lord who killed Qui-Gon in The Phantom Menace was Darth Maul. With his dual lightsaber and amazing ninja skills, Darth Maul was the best to tangle with. He is the ultimate baddie in the first prequel, and moviegoers can still point to this feud as one of the coolest looking. But did you know that the dark side had a rule for their Sith? Yes, they have the rule of two. It was always stabled that there should be a master and an apprentice. If there is a Sith Lord, you better believe there is a Sith apprentice somewhere close by. Imagine this is always a second Sith around probably sends chills down every Jedi's spine. They stick together, and that makes them all the more terrifying. So thank you for listening to the Star Wars Chatter here at Spotify Live. You can catch me live and on Twitch playing Star Wars video games. I post videos on YouTube, and I make music and release it on every major music platform. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Adios, amigos. This was the
Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Mazar.
If you have any thoughts or any messages that you want to leave me, go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or my website, www.andrewvansart.com. And I'll catch you on the flip side. When you listen to Andrew Van Zark, you listen with power. Now, you're listening with power. Andrew Van Zark. Stream on every major music platform. Power to the music. The sponsor of my stream and podcast is DistroKid. If you want 10% off on your first subscription with DistroKid, release your music to the world on every major music platform. Make sure to go to my website, andrewvanzark.com, and click on the discount link under the tab of DistroKid.